What's going on, guys? It's Charlie with Mountain Man Digital, and what I want to talk to you guys about today is, gosh, what you could almost call structural oppression inside of digital marketing. So, much like a lot of other industries, and much like a lot of other ideas just throughout the universe and the world, digital marketing is set up in kind of a pyramid or a hierarchy, right? And you'll see this with the people that pitch you digital marketing. You'll see this with the techniques of digital marketing, and I'll get into more on that later and how you can leverage that. So here I wanted to start with like an initial example just to make sure you guys know exactly what's going on with hierarchies. This is kind of one of those things that I feel like you learn very early on in life and then kind of forget about. You know, this is like a fourth grade pyramid or something out of like a fourth grade history book. But what it's showing is ancient Egyptian society and how it was structured using a pyramid as kind of an allegory for that, right? Makes a lot of sense. And of course, at the bottom, you have slaves who were like the servants of the working class. And then you have craftsmen and peasants. Then you have like your merchants, which would be like your small business owners today. And then above that, you had scribes, which was like low-level government. Soldiers were actually their own kind of like semi-ruling class here. And then the government officials, and then of course the pharaoh who controlled those government officials. So this was the hierarchy of society, right? And you can see they're saying rich people and poor people, right? So the higher up on the pyramid you are, the wealthier you are. The farther down, the poorer you are, right? And what a lot of people don't talk about is if you kind of draw a square around this, and just because I trimmed it out of a PDF, you can kind of see the square. You can see that down here, this almost works as kind of a scale for like what percentage of the wealth you get. You know, if this like little triangle here plugged onto the side is all the wealth in this society, the people down at the bottom, of course, get the least, and then a little more and a little more and a little more and a little more, right? And as you go up, you get more and more wealth, right? Pretty basic concept. So this, of course, plays over to modern life. Now, I'm being a little silly here. This is, of course, like some deep level conspiracy theory stuff. But what you can see here is you have people, the planet, and all living things at the bottom of the hierarchy, right? And then government, corporations, the big banks, the central banks, right? It's really very clearly kind of like a conspiracy theory thing. But you'll notice it follows the exact same structures. Okay, it's saying the same stuff. More power and wealth at the top, less power and wealth at the bottom, and how these things may very well interact. Okay? And it's exactly how modern society works now. We try and do some things different to help people be able to jump up these rungs, although this is some very strange stuff here that you might not want to jump up or into, but you get the idea. Now, here's a more kind and loving version of a pyramid, of a hierarchy, okay? And this is what's called Maslow's Hierarchy of Needs. So, for any of you who have ever been kicked out of your parents' house, been evicted, had no food because you were so broke, have been homeless for a time, etc., whatever it might be, right? You may be more acutely aware of this than anyone else because you've actually had to experience stuff at the bottom, okay? Physiological needs. And what Maslow's hierarchy of needs will do, for those of you who aren't aware of it, is it helps you understand the stuff in the real world you got to get done around you to feel better, right? You're depressed, you're having a hard time, etc. Let's take a look at this stuff and see if we can fix it to get you feeling better before we do anything else. It's kind of like a psychology 101 thing. So, physiological needs, you got to have food, you got to sleep, you got to have a place to live, you got to have some clothes on your back, etc., right? Safety needs, right? Do you feel secure? Do you have a job? Do you know if money's coming in next week, next month, next year? Do you have access to resources like healthcare, safe roads, electricity, heat, right? Health and property, right? Are you able to acquire personal property and have some pride in that? You know, love and belonging. Do you have friends? Do you have intimate relationships? Do you have families? And do you have a sense of connection with the rest of the world? Esteem. Do you respect yourself? Do you feel like you have some type of status, recognition, strength, or freedom? Okay? And then, of course, self-actualization, right? The desire to become the most that one can be. Okay? So really looking towards the stars in many ways, right? But you can't do this until all this other stuff happens. Just like the financial elite can't exist unless the people, the planet, and all living things are participating in society. Okay? This doesn't matter anymore if that bottom rung falls out, right? And here's the funny thing, right? If the central bank closes, all this falls apart. Just like with the pharaohs, right? If the government officials started to upheave and tried to take over the pharaoh, all this would fall down. And you'd have to build a new one. Okay? So that's kind of the idea here, right? Is in society, in your own mind, and in your life, there's always a hierarchy of things that need to be completed. Okay? And so in digital marketing, that's exactly the same. In digital marketing, you have to have a foundation of things that are completed. You have to have a base that's doing work for you before you can add the next piece and the next piece and the next piece until you get to full automation of your marketing system. So let's run through the pyramid here. And this is a concept that I've developed myself. I really think it's a breakthrough in marketing methodology. And so I'll run through it with you from the bottom to the top. So at the base, you have search engine optimization. And this is what my company does. So this is website optimization, having good content on that website for users to read, getting client reviews, sharing helpful links, things like that. Okay, and what this really means is Google going to give you traffic or not? Okay, and you can go ahead and watch some of my other videos if you want to get a feel for what that really means. But this is the base of everything. Okay, if you hire an automation company to add machine learning to your digital marketing mix and your site doesn't have this stuff on it, they're going to fire you as a client because you aren't ready. Okay? If you try to hire a Facebook ads guy, they're going to tell you to get this stuff done first. Even if they don't call it SEO, even if the end result isn't a search engine optimized website because they don't know what wrenches to turn in the background, they're still going to ask for your site to have good content on it. They're going to ask for client reviews. They're going to ask for some helpful links. Okay, this is basic stuff that everybody has to have if they want to play the game of digital marketing, basically. Okay, above that, you have content marketing. So these are videos made to directly attract new clients, visual sales letters, funnels, as you may have heard them be called, right? Anything that's made that's specifically built to be like, here's some information, how about you learn more about my company? Okay, that's really the next rung because that ties in to SEO very nicely. Once you're starting to make things that are actually useful and Google recognizes it, it will feed you ever more traffic as you continue to make more useful stuff. Above this, we have email and the beginnings of organic automation. Okay, so this is once you start content marketing and you start really focusing on your foundational SEO, you're going to start to get business. These two are pretty much necessary to start to get real business. Once you start to get that real business, that will translate over into a list of emails. And those lists of emails can then be automated so that you sell things to them all the time. So this is the beginning of your automation system. And this is where you're going to be able to start to collect data that will drive your paid ads and drive your full automation. And here's once again how it can fall apart. If you're running paid ads and nobody's signing up and you're not getting any emails, so that you can't basically make money for free off these people later, even if they don't buy off the paid ads, the whole pyramid will fall again. And you'll be right down here. Okay? Because paid ads are expensive. And if you can't also have a funnel where you're making money off of those that don't convert as you're learning paid ads, this pyramid will collapse again. So once the email and automation is built, then and only then do you get into paid ads. Okay, and paid ads is where you use Facebook ads, Google ads, AdSense, things like that to truly start to scale what has been proven to work down here. Right? So a lot of this is going to be energy spent on your team's part to make sure that all this stuff actually works. Okay? What do I mean by that? So if you look at these lines, right, and how they get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger, that would be probably your profit, right? This line here, that's how profitable each of these are, right? Time and money in, time and money out. You get the idea, okay? And so as you move up the pyramid, you'll notice that the profitability increases and the time and capital needed decreases, okay? And this is a really important idea because as your company scales, it just doesn't become useful anymore to get a $1 to $1.3 ROI, right? You need to now add in real content marketing and spend money on it and get a 1 to 2 ROI. And then as your email list grows, you hire an email marketing strategist and you get a 1 to 3 ROI. And then as that grows, you hire an advertising guy and you get a 1 to 6 ROI. And then once all this thing's together in a big system and it's all profitable, then you hire a full automation company to create machine learning to drive your paid ads, and you get a 1 to 50 ROI, right? Because many times once you get up to these rungs, you're looking at orders of magnitude as opposed to multiples. So that's why this is really exciting to me, because it truly also shows you that those who control the data, right, who is able to use machine learning and automation to build stuff faster, they're the ones who are going to dominate the industry. Okay, so it's really in your best interest if you're a roofer, if you're a plumber, if you're a doctor, if you're a dentist, if you're any of these types of folks who are looking to get clients off the internet in a local area, it's important, it's imperative that you follow this structure so that you're able to get a good base and then scale in a methodical way that will actually grow your company by 10x, 100x in a year or so. All right, guys, so I hope you found this really useful. If you did, be sure to give it a like, share it around with any other business owners that you think might find it useful, and I'll see you in the next one.